College basketball scene in the tri-state and beyond. This is The Crown. Built for Cincinnati. First word for your morning sports. The working lunch for business that hits home. Nat tries that for lifestyle around the city. And rebound rundown for college hoops. This city deserves its crown. Watch, listen, subscribe.
Midday in the Queen City, you know business is booming. We've got a fine in Fairfield, starting the plan for downtown. And you know the name. They've been wowing the tri-state for decades. Let's do lunch. Cincinnati is a city that means business. Fortune 500 company HQs,
renowned institutions like Children's Hospital and the Cincinnati Zoo, and letters that everyone here knows: TQL, GE, CVG, UC, and X. It's also a city that's large enough for new ideas to take root and grow. You know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody, and you're in business. I'm Jack Crumley, and this is The Working Lunch.
Hi there. Welcome to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. This is our hour-long business show here on The Crown, where we bring you updates on companies and businesses all around the tri-state. We bring you exclusive interviews with business owners and local leaders, and we try to squeeze in a bite to eat, maybe make something go boom before you go back to face the afternoon. Glad to have you. Cincinnati business headlines presented by First State Bank. Built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities, First State Bank offers checking, savings, and mortgage services all from your phone. They believe in this community and they believe in you. Visit FSB4me.com. That's First State Bank, member FDIC, and equal housing lender. OSHA, the Occupational Health and Safety Administration, says that Koch Foods in Fairfield did not properly tell workers about a new evacuation plan that had been adopted just before a fire that broke out there back in February. And OSHA says that lack of communication contributed to a worker's death. The reports and the investigation into this tragedy from earlier this year are in. The report from OSHA says that the company failed to properly train employees on how to handle equipment that may have also contributed to the explosion. 25-year-old Griffin Darrow died of smoke inhalation, tragically on the job, and people who lived nearby were told to shelter in place for a time over concerns about a possible ammonia leak as this was all going on. Koch Foods has agreed to pay a $167,000 fine. Making plans for the future. It was delayed before because of response to the storms, but City of Cincinnati leaders today are holding a news conference to announce a new downtown plan process. This would be the first comprehensive plan for downtown in 40 years. And this would be just the start of that process. It takes years to put a neighborhood plan together. And if we're talking about downtown, that's a big, complicated neighborhood. It took 7 years to take input and compile the Hyde Park plan that came out earlier this year. And of course, this is all happening as downtown and the riverfront are seeing major projects as part of a transformation that is really just now ramping up. You've got the Brent Spence Companion Bridge work, the new Convention Center Hotel that's under construction, a number of large downtown buildings that are being converted into apartments. There is a lot going on. That announcement today by city leaders coming up at 1 o'clock. Blink is coming, and there is still time for businesses to be involved. A message from the Cincinnati Artist Network is being amplified by the Regional Chamber Online to have business owners make their space part of the Blink Week energy. Cincinnati Artist Network is connecting businesses and local artists to collaborate for the event, talking about murals, light art, music, photo booths, and more. Part of what they're offering with restaurant-friendly artist options, retail-friendly artist options, and more. Blink, as you might know, is the coolest thing that this city does, and it's coming up this October. Details on the cincyartistnetwork.com/blink website. That is cincyartistnetwork.com/blink. In other fall preparation headlines, PSL season is certainly a whole thing. But this here, you're taking a look at it, is Graeter's Harvest Pumpkin flavor, made with real pumpkin. No, it really is. Cinnamon spice, nutmeg, clove, ginger, all going into this wintertime concoction. Graeter says it's the sweet flavor of pumpkin pie filling. Hold the crust. Those are available now, starting today, along with Graeter's Pumpkin Spice Sundae, Pumpkin Spice Milkshake, and Pumpkin Chai Chiller. It's August. Why not? Life is short. And hit this. They're back for now. Rheingeist is now back to selling its Fuzzy Bones THC seltzer. The back and forth on regulations for these drinks. There we go. Look at that. Oh, Back and forth on regulations for these drinks is continuing. A federal judge earlier this month issued a temporary restraining order to block Ohio's ban on intoxicating hemp. That affects the drinks. Local breweries like 50 West and Urban Artifact have already been selling their drinks after having to move their inventories out of state when the ban first took effect. And there is ongoing negotiation with lawmakers in Columbus for them to possibly overturn the governor's veto that banned the drinks. There's also an eye still on what's going on in Washington over the continued fallout from the 2018 Farm Bill. It's a complicated thing. It's ongoing, but Rhinegeist now joining the party, bringing its THC drinks back for now. Jack's Big Bite is where we focus on one particular story or topic in our community, a community we believe in with our partners at First State Bank. Stop into one of their local branches or visit online at fsb4me.com to access all the helpful tools and services at First State Bank, built on belief and committed to doing right by our communities. For today's Big Bite, presented by First State Bank, we are counting down to Labor Day weekend. And in Cincinnati, that means Riverfest, and that means the Western and Southern WEBN fireworks. Who does that incredible fireworks display? You know the name, Rosie's. They do incredible fireworks displays all over the world, and they do them here.
Rosie's famous fireworks has turned sand and gravel barges into floating arsenals.
This was above and beyond anything I've seen. And I've lived a lot of places.
Take a look at what makes people excited and happy. Fireworks are right at the top of the list.
Computer precision turns explosive chaos into choreography. Until you stand here, until you see how many mortars, how many guns they've got here. I mean, it's just hard to believe. Hard to believe. Hard to believe.
What a great crowd of people. They've waited all day long to get down to what's just about to happen.
It was absolutely spectacular.
Gorgeous.
I have to see. I've been fortunate enough to see them all, and this was the best.
That is simply incredible work. Rosie's famous fireworks has been going on for, you saw it in the video there, 5 generations. Crafting incredible explosive light displays that have made hundreds of thousands of people all at the same time go, wow. Their website says, no matter the project, we ensure each of our designs is a sensational, memorable, and innovative experience because we know we only have one shot to get it right. No pressure. Rosie's promises that planning a fireworks event with them comes with the guarantee that you will receive a tailor-made, imaginative, and impeccably designed display for your event. With the support of their staff of 400 of the most experienced pyrotechnicians, Rosie says you can rest assured that your event will be seamlessly executed. Here's a look at how. I am very, very excited to learn about the process for all this. Rosie's Famous Fireworks was founded by Paolo Rosie. Might have been Paolo Razzi back then. He's the great-grandfather of the current company leader, Nancy Rosie. Paolo founded the company in southern Italy in 1895 before emigrating to Pennsylvania. The company grew there, and in 1930, Paolo's son, Arthur Rosie Sr., and his 2 sons, Joseph and Paul, moved the business to Cincinnati, where they molded the company into what it is today. Now, making that move and doing that in the 30s was probably pretty good timing. Let me give you a really quick aside here. Cincinnati tried to ban fireworks in 1918. Big shout out to local weird historian Greg Hand for this piece in Cincinnati Magazine back in 2018. The Ohio Fire Marshal told the Cincinnati Post that powder for that year should be saved for over there for the 4th of July. One rocket equals several loaves of bread, he said. Greg Hand in that story says that Hyde Park, College Hill, Price Hill, and Norwood all had community events and parades, but no fireworks to celebrate. Those kids that you see right there were pictured for the cover of the Post on July 4th, 1918. They pledged to celebrate without fireworks. Nerds. Back to Rozzi's, though. Nancy Rozzi, daughter of Joseph, currently manages day-to-day operations. And Rozzi's Famous Fireworks has built upon its strong reputation within the fireworks industry, continuing to innovate, bringing their award-winning displays and craftsmanship to audiences around the world. That innovation goes beyond just in fireworks. You can see there a little drone display. They offer several different drone packages. Rozzi's website also lists a variety of drone operations along with a pyrotechnic training school and in-person training. Over the course of the 125 years that Rozzi's Famous Fireworks has been in business, their award-winning designers have been recognized at international firework festivals in France, Australia, Russia, Belgium, and more. Rozzi's Famous Fireworks famously puts on the annual Western and Southern WEBN Fireworks right here on the Cincinnati riverfront. It's been going since 1977. That means this is the 50th year of an event that started as a simple birthday party for a rock radio station. An annual event that draws hundreds of thousands of people to the Ohio River to tilt their heads back and marvel at the sky. A man with what I think is one of the coolest job titles I've ever heard, VP of Sales and Pyro Designer. Joe Rozzi is my guest when we come back. You're watching The Working Lunch on The Crown. Stick around.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well, and have since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in you hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief.
My name is Jack Crumley. I've been covering news in Cincinnati on the radio for the last 20 years. I grew up in Northeast Ohio, but Cincinnati has always felt like home since day one. I've seen so many things accomplished here, and now, with the Working Lunch, I get to write, read, and talk about them every day. Hard-working people with a drive and a dream. Innovative ideas that help shape this city. Cincinnati is a great city, and I'm excited to tell you about it every day. Welcome back to the Working Lunch. It is Friday afternoon. I am pleased to be joined by Joe Rossi, the VP of Sales and Pyrotechnician for Rossi's Famous Fireworks. Joe, do you have the coolest job title in the city?
Sometimes. It's a lot of work, but I think it is, you know. I think we all do. All of us in this industry really have a very, very unique and different job.
Yeah, I think it's extremely unique, and I'm so excited to learn about sort of what your guys' process is. But I don't even know, how in the world do you have time to be here right now? We are a little over a week away from Riverfest and the 50th Western and Southern WEBN fireworks. What am I taking you away from right now?
We just started setting up yesterday, so the first couple of days, although it's a lot of labor, it's a lot of hard work, we have a really, really good team with us. So I'm comfortable, you know, stepping away briefly.
Okay. Well, listen, I truly do appreciate you coming on. How does the planning process for this work? It's more than just a year, right? It's not like when last year's event ended, then you started planning for this one. This is the 50th.
We started talking about this 2 years ago.
Yeah, okay.
I remember at a lunch with Mr. Barrett and some members from iHeart. What are we going to do for 50? And the ideas were tossed around of the biggest, or I think one idea was tossed around, biggest in the world, and I said, okay, wait a minute, guys. So we started discussing.
It's nice to be aspirational.
It was absolutely, and you know, Mr. Barrett is very inspirational.
Absolutely.
So we started discussing, you know, laying out, okay, what are we going to do? Settled on where we were going to be, and then started talking about recently, maybe about 6-8 months ago, soundtrack production. The different areas that we wanted to shoot on, what we wanted to add, because it's one of those things where every time we come upriver the night of that show, we look, you know, wouldn't it be cool to do this?
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be cool to do that? Well, that's this year.
So all the wouldn't it be cool moments are going to get poured into.
Yeah, there's a few more that we have, but yeah, absolutely, all the cool things that we thought about coming upriver are kind of culminating this year.
Well, you know, it doesn't seem like you're not showing that you feel like any pressure to make this, you know, I mean, it's a memorable event every year, but I mean, this being the 50th, obviously there's a lot of attention on it. You don't seem like you're under any pressure.
There is an enormous amount of pressure. I guess I'm used to it and really good at hiding it.
Well, you are used to it, and you guys do tremendous work every year. Is the process where you start designing the fireworks display before you know what the music is?
You know, we talk about different things we'd like to do. Right, different products we'd like to use. If there's a vendor out there that we see that there's really neat effects from, we'll start to collect that. So we're not actually designing the show. We don't design the show until we get the soundtrack in hand, because we use visualization software. So we'll load that audio track, and then we'll take all of those ideas and find the place where they fit.
How prolific is that software? Was that a game? I mean, it hasn't been around forever. You guys have been doing this for 50 years. How big of a game changer was getting visualization software like that?
It was huge. I mean, you couldn't watch a fireworks show after you designed it. You have to shoot it, right? You can get this idea in your head, this image in your head, sure, but to actually see it and play it back, and see, okay, how did this look? How did this work? Do I want to tweak this, tune this? And then it just opened up the door to all sorts of other things that we could do by just really, it's a copy and paste now. I don't have to put in lines and lines and lines of data. It's just now selections of various locations. Put this here. I want it to last this long, and play. And see how it looks.
That's cool. And when you're designing this whole thing, you're designing it for the people on either side of the river who are there in person, but then also this thing does get put on TV and everything. Is that part of what you're taking into account as far as the design goes also?
We do sometimes.
Okay.
There's certain things that don't register well, really, really dark golds and things like that. But I think television has gotten so much better over the years that we're able to give them that video. We'll generate a video so they can play back and see what's happening where is it coming from. And this year we designed it in 3D simply because we had to. Because of the enormous amount of space, we had to be able to move around on the skyline and overhead and look at it from different perspectives. But at the end of the day, my nephew Mike and I co-designed the show, and a gentleman that works for us, a young kid named Tyler, he helps out with it a little bit as well. We designed it from the Kentucky side, looking at the Cincinnati skyline.
Gotcha.
So that's the perspective we use.
And then you're also juggling a bunch of different plates because you're doing this event. You've got the city, and you've got the county, and you've got, the Coast Guard, and whatever, safety requirements that your industry just needs in general, right? There's a lot of different masters that you have to serve.
Yeah, we have great working relationships with all the entities involved, and you're basically Coast Guard, City of Cincinnati, City of Newport. All their fire departments are great to work with. We know all of them. They know us. They know what to expect. And it's a great working relationship. I mean, the entire team that puts this event on, from Western and Southern to iHeart to us and all those entities, that's how this event happens.
Yeah. But then how do you keep your sanity? Because again, you seem extremely calm right now, and you don't necessarily have any outward signs that you're feeling any pressure. You've got all this planning that's been going on for more than a year, all sorts of different people, all sorts of different safety requirements and everything. But at the end of the day, no matter how much planning that you do on this, there is still a big question of what Mother Nature wants to do. That's got to drive you crazy, right?
You had to say that, didn't you?
Well, I think it's better just to get it out of the way.
It is. I mean, we've been, it's been a crazy summer for weather, that's for sure. And that's got me nervous, and all of us, nervous most of all. Hopefully the weather pattern broke, but we prepare for weather. Mm-hmm. So we'll work under tents. Everything's covered under plastic. We'll just keep evaluating the weather as we move forward. And right now, it doesn't look bad. The biggest issue we had a week ago was a flooding river.
Right.
That would have been a huge problem. But now it's back down to almost where it should be. So it should be okay.
Yeah, I think so many people think about up in the sky, but I mean, having those barges on the river is a key part of what you guys are doing.
Is. Not only that, it's for the load in, because of the dock that we use is situated in a way that it just happens to be at truck height. So we can back trucks up to these barges. And any higher than 29, 30 feet, it starts to become difficult. When it gets to 40 feet, it's impossible. We have to move somewhere else, and it creates a lot of problems. And even navigation on the water with those barges creates problems too.
Yeah, for sure. So, is there a ramp-up process? Because, I mean, the fireworks for Labor Day happen at the end of the season, when I would think that's your busy time of year, right? Between the 4th of July and baseball games and everything else. Is there a ramp-up period for you guys and for the staff to really get in the groove for when Labor Day rolls around?
Pretty much right after the 4th of July. We start the planning, the actual planning for how this is going to go. And granted, yes, we have a lot of other shows that are happening in the meantime, but pretty much right after the 4th of July, we're full bore into assembly, preparation, and then the planning of how the week's going to go. I mean, this show typically is about a 7-day setup. I think we're close to 2 weeks now for this one.
Wow, that's tremendous. That's a lot of work, and I think it's really going to pay off. Obviously, people are going to really have a wonderful time at that show. Talking about the business part of what you do, you guys have all these public and private fireworks displays that you've been known for decades, but then there's also the retail arm. With the backyard fireworks, selling retail. How is there a balance between that, finding product and working it into the professional side versus the consumer side?
No, they operate more or less independently of one another, because they're two very different operations. They share the same facilities and the same employees and all of that. It's the same company. But retail, we've always had a retail store, and it's just something we kept and held on to. It's it's not a small part of our business, but the bulk of our business is fireworks displays.
Yeah.
But it's just another way for us to keep our name out there, and we have a serious following of people that like to shop at our store. I mean, other fireworks stores have popped up around the area over the years,
Sure.
but we have a following. They like to come back. They just like to be a part of us.
Well, there's a name recognition because I mean people know your public displays, and that's good PR for the retail side of things, right? Knowing the name from a show I just saw. Oh, hey, I can go to the store.
Yep. That's true. It is very good for PR.
And as far as balancing that with the business, your sister running things, is she keeping track of everything?
She is, yeah. Nancy takes care of a few things. She relies on us. You know, we're out there in the field and handling most of the operations up at our facility, and I'm handling things out in the field here. And you know, we call her daily, and hey, everything's going okay, Nance. Everything's doing fine. We're doing okay. And
I was looking.
She'll say, "How much money you spending, Joe?" I said, "No,
not right at the amount I'm supposed to."
A little more right now, but it's good.
You know, I was looking on your website, and you know the different services that you guys offer. There's the shows, there's the drone stuff, there's the training that you guys have, and then also I was looking on the hours that you guys were running some special Diwali hours, because in terms of holidays, I think a lot of people think about the 4th of July, but Diwali's a big holiday for that sort of thing too.
Diwali has become a big holiday over the past 5 to 10 years, and the New Year's, and you know, you have Memorial Day and even Labor Day. But yeah, Diwali has come around over the last just few years, really.
Yeah, that's interesting. I think the other interesting thing about your business and your industry specifically is in terms of the way that the job is done in the supply lines of things. Are you guys are buying internationally the product, right?
We are. We buy most of the product that services the industry is coming out of China. There's a little bit of product coming out of Europe. We import from Europe, and then we brought in some products from Japan. Japanese fireworks haven't been seen in the United States in probably 35, 40 years. Mm-hmm. We used to shoot a lot back then. Markets changed. It got very, very expensive. It's still very, very expensive, but they're known for some very, very intricate effects, of which I'm not going to let you in on too much, but there'll be some of that in this show.
Oh, all right. We like teases here on the show. That's exciting. You're dealing with, you know, international supply chains, and there's all sorts of, you know, getting things through customs and safety requirements just on international trade level, and then you're bringing it in. You have to find suppliers that you've developed relationships with over the years. This feels just a lot more complicated than I think a lot of people realize.
It is. It's very intensive to bring in containers from overseas. There's a lot of regulation involved, not only on our end, but on the other end too. Right. I mean, right now, a part of one Chinese province that's known for manufacturing is shut down because of an incident that occurred in May. So when things like that happen, an entire province shuts down. It isn't just a simple factory. Yeah. So that creates supply chain problems. And also there's the expense. It's very expensive to bring these containers just from the cost of the freight.
Right.
Not to mention the duty, and then there's a little bit of tariff there as well.
Sure, and then cost of fuel hasn't been any cheaper recently.
Yeah, and then there's specialized drivers that can haul this, you know, commercial driver's license with hazmat endorsement, which there aren't many of. So sometimes you pay a premium, or we have one of our drivers has to go to a port and pick a container up.
So when an event happened, like you mentioned, in that one province that shut down an entire area like that, what's the sort of timing on that sort of thing that all of a sudden makes you start to sweat months later thinking, well, we got X number of shows that we're depending on this product for?
A month ago. We're sweating right now.
Yeah.
Because we're purchasing right now, we're ordering for next year.
Right, okay.
You have to order a year out now. And we service a number of amusement parks, and they are very heavy users of these products. And so we're relying on, okay, what's going on? We're looking at other manufacturers that we know to carry that load, but so is everyone else. So right now, you know, it's a little intense waiting.
Yeah, I would say so. Plus, then on top of that, too, cost of insurance. You guys have to be insured and bonded in a way that it probably is a little more onerous than the average business.
Well, there's basically 2 insurance companies and underwriters that underwrite fireworks displays.
That's a wild
So if that tells
thing.
you something, yeah, you can buy a very, very nice house in Cincinnati for what we pay in premiums every year.
Yeah, there's no such thing as like cheap discount insurance for a fireworks company.
No, because your limits of liability, most states and municipalities have a requirement of either 5 or 10 million. So the state says you can have $1 million combined single limit, which we all know that's not enough.
Sure.
So that is where it gets very expensive. The umbrella gets very expensive. The transportation insurance gets very expensive. So it just all adds up. It's a very, very high premium.
Yeah, that's a lot to juggle. This is why I'm really interested to be having you on the show and talk to you about this stuff, because it's so much more complicated than just strike a match and make a pretty light. Yeah. The Rozzi Firework Company, Rozzi's Famous Fireworks, also recently started doing drones. We're going to get into that and more with Joe Rozzi. When we come back, though, got to take a break. More Working Lunch coming up.
Okay, who are you?
Well, you have a First State Bank checking account, so you'll be getting cash back whenever you use it.
Oh.
Open a checking account at First State Bank for cash back. First State Bank, built on belief.
How did you get in here?
What is The Crown? It's simple, really. Authentic Cincinnati entertainment. Not hot takes from a studio 3 states away. Not national noise pretending to know this city. Rather, bringing a voice to those who call the Queen City home. Where can I watch The Crown shows? Join us live from 7 to 11 a.m. for First Word and 12 to 1 for the Working Lunch on RESN. No live TV? No problem. Stream and interact with all of our content on major podcast, broadcast, and streaming platforms. The Crown is Cincinnati. Loud, passionate, competitive, proud. From early morning sports debates to the business leaders shaping the riverfront, to the fans, stories, moments, and culture that make this place move. Live shows, podcasts, documentaries, digital content built from Cincinnati, for Cincinnati. This is The Crown.
Welcome back to the Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. You are seeing there, this is from Rozzy's Fireworks Instagram page. Is this a collaboration that you guys did with an outfit called Verge Aero?
Yeah, Verge is the manufacturer of the drone system that we use. They have about 12 or 13 other partners around the country. And what we like about Verge is they do a very good job of partnering their partner companies together.
Okay.
Like, for instance, for us to be able to fly this 1,000 drones, 500 each, we needed to borrow some of the Verge drones from another vendor. And then we'll swap with them if they need to borrow something.
Right on.
So they're very good at it. They're very good at innovating. They're very good at support. We're bringing in 2 of their pilots to assist with this show.
Oh, great.
Just to make sure, because it's a very interesting, communications get very interesting on the river.
I can only imagine.
Yeah, if anybody's ever noticed, your cell service goes down at about 8 o'clock, and that's it.
So set your alarms ahead of time. Joe Rozzy is the VP of Sales and Pyrotechnician for Rozzy's Famous Fireworks. Collaborating and working with other companies like that, and especially doing fireworks and drones together. That's a new flavor that's in the mix for you guys.
Yeah, we do fireworks and drone shows together. Like, we fly at Kings Island, 90 nights a year. It's a combined fireworks and drone show, and we do in others, some of the other parks and some of our other clients we do the same thing for, and it really complement one another.
Yeah.
And then there are companies that we're not doing it yet, but there's companies that do pyro on drones.
That's crazy.
Which is an up-and-coming thing. You're limited to what you can do because of the payload of the drone, but it's another element.
That's got to be a whole new level of FAA regulations if we're talking about pyrotechnic on a flying thing, right?
Yeah, we understand the waiver that's required. Costs a lot of money to get.
I bet.
So we look at that as saying, well, there's partner companies that we can partner with if we ever want to do something like that right now.
What's that like for you guys doing the drone stuff specifically, working with a display show where you actually get the product back? It doesn't blow up and go away. Like, the drones land and then you get to use them again.
There is that. It is nice to be able to reuse that product over and over and over again. Yeah. The only, and I won't say it's disposable, but the only recyclable part is the battery.
Okay.
And you could get maybe 100 to 200 cycles out of a battery before it needs to be replaced. And there's companies that take those recycled batteries. So that's the only thing that really is an issue. But the drone itself we have drones that probably have about 500 cycles.
Okay.
Since we started doing Kings Island 4 or 5 years ago.
Joe, I want to ask you about you. This is a family company. It's been going for 5 generations from back in the old country before it even came over to the States. Mm-hmm. So you grew up around fireworks. So your relationship with that sort of thing has to be different than the average bear, right? You're used to it.
We all did. Everyone in my family grew up around fireworks. We grew up with it. We grew up with its good times and its bad times. We were taught a lot of respect for them from my father, my grandfather. So we have a very, very different perspective on fireworks than, maybe your average person who goes to the retail store and does their 4th of July show. We know the bad things that can happen.
Sure. And growing up sort of being used to it, but having that very healthy understanding and respect of what the process is part of that. Does it, I mean, it's got to make you crazy when you see those headlines on the 5th of July that start to announce things that people did that were really stupid.
It does. It just, it's unfortunate, but, some of these accidents may be avoided. You don't really know. But the nature of fireworks is that they're inherently sensitive. That's how they work.
Well, and clearly you, in your family company that's been around for so many decades, clearly, reputation is huge, and having a good safety reputation is a big part of that. So that means you guys have to adhere to, I would think, extremely strict standards.
Yeah, we do. We go through training every year. We train our operators.
You're still going through training every year now.
Oh, yeah, we always learn.
Yeah.
There's something new you learn, and what you also do is you learn from some of those incidents. Through our trade association, the American Pyrotechnics Association, that information gets disseminated out to the membership as to what might have happened. Is there a product that needs to be addressed that might be in our inventory? Is there a technique? Is there a method or something or is it something that just went wrong because someone just got complacent?
Yeah. Helping to develop best practices, which is good for the industry.
Absolutely, yeah.
What is it like for you, having grown up in this family? This is the family business. Is this work that you're doing now what you always wanted to do, or was there a moment where Joe Rossi said, let me go off and try something else and then maybe come back?
No, not me. And I'll tell you, it was very different when I was a kid back in the 80s. We all worked up there when we were, I started when I was 10 or 12 years old, doing what we could do.
Sure, yeah. What were you allowed to do then?
Cut grass. I cut grass.
Well, that's a safety function.
I cut grass, but there was a gentleman that worked for us. His name was Ernest Lee, called him Curly.
Okay.
Curly was a very nice man. He came from southern Kentucky, moved up here probably in the 30s with his family. But Curly couldn't read.
Okay.
But he made the greatest fuse he made the best fuse. So on Saturdays, I'd go up there and I would help Curly do things. Dad would send me, he'd say, go with Curly, and we're looking for this and we're looking for that, because he couldn't read the boxes. Or he'd bring me tear off the label off the box and say, the girls want this, and I'd go with them. So that kind of stuff. But then I worked in and then started working more. And then, when I was 18, 19 years old, we started shooting some shows. And I would go out with my brothers at the time, or with some of the other people that shot with us, people that have been with us for years that are still with us. And then started going down to the river probably in 86, I think, was my first year really down there. And then 89, I kind of got it dumped in my lap to kind of take charge of it.
No pressure.
And I've been doing it. I was 21 years old.
Yeah. And
I've been going down there ever since. So, yeah, we all grew up in this industry, and we all worked there. And in the summertime, all of my sisters, too, that aren't full-time there, they come up and help. I've got my kids that, one of them at least is interested. My oldest daughter, Bella, is interested in being a part of it.
It's an interesting family business to get into, because the workload is, there's a heavy seasonal element to it, and it's kind of maybe front loaded, but there is a ton of, during the off season, you're still busy doing stuff as far as preparation for those summer years.
Yeah, we always basically say our season starts opening day.
Okay.
With the first Reds game, and then it goes all the way through to New Year's. And January and February, we're prepping and preparing and booking, getting our contracts lined up for the summer. And then it's a short time, then it's opening day again, and it all starts all over.
What's it like doing the family business part and having your relatives be your co-workers? Is it easy to leave work at work, or do things make it to the dinner table? How does that work for the Rossis?
Oh, yeah, they make it to the dinner table. Yeah, it's an Italian family. It was a big Italian family.
I didn't want to get too deep into the stereotypes, but I was wondering that.
Do we argue? Sure. We absolutely do. But, at the end of the day, we make up and we go on.
Yeah.
And then we argue again. And in the summertime, it's particularly bad because you're tired, you're hot, you're worn out, and you're, for lack of a better term, your fuse is short.
There we go.
And Nancy and I have gotten to some knockdown dragouts, but then the next day it's fine.
Okay. Yeah, there's a bounce back element to it.
Yeah, there is.
As far as being, again, the long-running nature of this family company, is there an element, too, where because you guys are so respected and you're involved in so many different annual events that happen around here, stuff regularly at the ballpark, all over the town, Kings Island, is there a time when you feel like people maybe take for granted what you guys do and that you're just sort of part of the furniture?
Maybe. I don't know. And if they do, that's fine. We're just going to keep doing what we do. We do this for our crowd, for the crowds that come. At the end of the day, we're entertainers. We entertain with a product. And if somebody, we don't feel taken advantage of, we don't feel taken for granted. At least I don't.
Well, you guys do tremendous work, and part of the thing that I was excited about having you on the show today was because I want people to understand all the work that you're doing and the process and the artistry, and make sure people don't realize that they think it's simple and it's not. Yeah,
I'll tell you, I think people in Cincinnati and in northern Kentucky are pretty savvy when it comes to fireworks. You don't see this in other cities, and we have friends in the industry in other cities, and we've talked about this over the years. There really isn't another event that is not really related to a holiday or anything else that is just a fireworks show. You have 4th of July.
Yeah, sure.
You might have events around September 11th, New Year's. Christmas is big in the South. Mm-hmm. But this is just about fireworks. Even the festival in Louisville is surrounded by the Derby.
Right.
This is just fireworks. Nothing else.
Well, and it's coming up in a little over a week, the 50th Western and Southern WEBN Fireworks, part of Riverfest, the Sunday of Labor Day weekend. It's going to be a monster show.
Yep.
I'm going to let you get back to work because I think you might have to get out of here.
Yep, going back to work.
Joe Rossi is the VP of Sales and Pyrotechnician for Rossi's Famous Fireworks. Joe, thanks very much for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
We got to take a break. We'll be back with more Working Lunch after this.
Our beliefs matter. They're reflected in our words and actions. At First State Bank, we believe in treating people well, and have since 1884. Listening, caring, looking out for each other. It's what people deserve. It's what a real local bank does. While lots of things have changed over the years, our belief in you hasn't. First State Bank, built on belief.
This is the Rebound Rundown. I'm your host, Paul Fritchner. Your home for college basketball in the Cincinnati area and across the country every Monday through Friday during the season. Previews, recaps, breakdowns, interviews, and more. You can find it all right here. Your one-stop shop for a quick dose of college hoops on your morning commute. Make sure to subscribe on YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts.
Hi, my name is Natalie Jones, a Cincinnati native, and I have been in media for about 10 years now. Formerly on the radio here in Cincinnati, I grew my love and obsession with finding all things fun in Cincinnati and have now made it my life. I'm originally from the west side here, and then I've pretty much been a downtown girl ever since college. But I did leave for 7 years, and during that time, I really grew and harnessed and cut my teeth doing stand-up comedy in Los Angeles, learning how to ski in Colorado, and now I'm back here in Cincinnati, driven by curiosity and grounded by family.
Welcome back to The Working Lunch. I'm Jack Crumley. You know, we love movies here at The Working Lunch, and movies are big business. The biggest release coming out this weekend, one of the most anticipated movies of the year, is not really coming from a big studio. Take a look.
been horribly injured by a product made by the Acme Corporation?
It's not your fault. There's probably someone to blame.
The name of the case is Coyote versus Acme.
Wile E. Coyote. He is reckless. We all know who's responsible, and all of his injuries are self-inflicted.
You've been settling Acme cases for years.
I could probably get you $250 for that.
This is your opportunity to really show people what you're capable of.
These companies think they can do whatever they want. We're sick of it.
Acme, hack you!
Nothing to see here.
We really have nothing.
We both know it would be very unpleasant if anything bigger were to become public.
So, what is up, Doc?
The Acme Corporation is releasing this film for account purposes only. We do not condone any of the storylines depicted.
So there is a whole meta element to this also. Warner Brothers owns Looney Tunes, and it made this movie years ago. And then the big studio just shelved it in 2023 as the company was cutting costs under CEO David Zaslav. The cast and crew had what they called a funeral screening, as they thought the whole thing was dead and that nobody was ever going to see this movie. That all led to a major public backlash, and with that pressure, then Warner's started shopping the movie around to see if anybody wanted it. An outfit called Ketchup Entertainment landed the project in a deal valued at about $50 million, and after years of thinking that it was dead and gone, the movie is actually coming out this weekend. I think that Will Forte, who plays the attorney in that movie, is an underrated genius. John Cena's been really honing his comedy chops the last few years. Very excited that this movie is coming out, having wide release this weekend. Speaking of movies, I would be remiss if I did not mention how this is now the soft opening for the Marymount Theater. As you know, Independent is an organization that is very close to my heart. I've been involved with it since things got going back with that first festival in 2018. And it's we've been working very hard, the organization, to get the Marymount Theater going. Months of hard work. Marymount Theater by Independent is showing movies again at the theater on the Village Square. Starting today. They're showing the Anthony Bourdain pick Tony, a Matthew McConaughey movie called The Rivals of Amaziah King, doing a special film series from 1938 when the theater opened. Now, the grand reopening gala is still next month, but this is the soft opening now. Movies are being shown at the Marymount Theater again starting this afternoon, and I'm very excited about that. Do have one other thing for you as we wrap up the show on a Friday. Thanks to one of our most dedicated viewers. I'm going to put this on display there for you. These are chomps. These are the little versions called chomplings. And Diana Barhorst is a big fan of the show. She praises a lot of what we do on social media. And she said she wanted to send this in after we did a bit about how chomps are such a big thing around the office here. And, you know, Diana has a little bit of an issue with me eating on the show and then talking while I do it. And Diana, I'm trying to be better about that, but I'm only human. I can't have a whole box of quality meat sticks in front of me and not take a bite of it on a Friday. I'm sorry, I just can't. That's our show. I would like to thank Joe Rossi, the VP of Sales and the technician, pyro designer for Rossi's Famous Fireworks. Coming up in just a little bit over a week, Riverfest. The Western and Southern WEBN fireworks. It's going to be a tremendous show. Thank you to Joe for coming and cluing us into all the work that goes into what they do. I think it's a fascinating industry, and I'm very happy to have learned a little bit more about that. That's our show. We are going to wrap things up going into the weekend. There's plenty of programming on The Crown that you can check out. Certainly, CincyCrown.com is the website. Stream live or on demand. All of our shows are up on there. You can check out what First Word with James Rapine is doing. There's clips on that posted online. Certainly, Nat Tries That had a show this week. Nat Jones' show. She talked to Softmax Plus, one of my favorite local influencers who posts really interesting content online. Paul Fritchner with the Rebound Rundown. keeping people covered on college hoops. You saw that the new AD for NKU was on First Word this morning talking about the future of that program. That's very exciting. We're very happy to have you watching. Again, thank you to Diana Barhorse for being a fan. We appreciate our fans here on The Crown. And happy to be growing in this family, building a thing here, and happy to have you along. Have a great weekend. We will see you back at noon on Monday. I'm going to need a chomp.